Number 19. The graph shows pressure changes that take place in the right atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle of a human heart when the muscle walls contract and relax. What is the pressure in the right ventricle when the left ventricle is at its maximum pressure? So the graph is showing time in its x-axis and pressure in its y-axis. And there are 3 lines, and each of them will represent right atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle's pressures. So if you draw a heart, I love drawing heart like this, and there are atriums inside. So these are atria, these are ventricles, and of course there are valves like this, and there are seminal valves here as well. So this is the right side and it's the left side, and obviously when the blood goes into the atrium and then the blood travels from the atrium to ventricle, the pressure exerted by atriums is very, very low, because atrium has very, very thin wall, thin muscles, so there's not much of a pressure that's produced by atrium. So I'd say the lowest pressure line represents the right atrium, and now we're left with 2 ventricles, right and the left. The right ventricle and the left ventricle here. So the right ventricle pushes the blood, it pumps the blood out of the heart, and then the blood will travel through pulmonary artery. And the pulmonary means related to lungs, so the artery means it's a blood vessel that transports blood out of the heart, from the heart. So where does it go? Where does the blood goes to? It's going to go into the lungs. So remember, the heart and the lungs are very, very close, so it's not going to need much pressure. However, the left ventricle is going to push the blood so that the blood goes out of the heart and then throughout the body. So it's gonna need a lot of pressure. That's why the left side of the heart, or left ventricular muscle, is very, very thick, because it has to exert a lot of force or a lot of pressure. So therefore, I guess this biggest graph line represents the left ventricle, the pressure of the left ventricle, and the middle one will be the right ventricle. And the question is, what is the pressure in the right ventricle? So it's asking for the values within this line. It says when the left ventricle is at its maximum pressure, when it's here. When the left ventricle's pressure is at its maximum, what is the pressure of the right ventricle, which will be around 3. So the answer is 3. C. Yep.